Hey guys, this is Kyle at Projection Hub, and today I'm going to be talking about how to write a vending machine business plan that will get you approved for a loan or wow an investor. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm not going to write a whole business plan for you, but I'm going to walk you through the structure of a vending machine business plan using a fictitious example with this free template. You can grab this vending machine business plan template down in the description of the video. Totally free, no strings attached there. And the main goal of this demonstration is, as we're kind of going through this, I'm going to highlight 5 key points that are kind of really the make or break points of a business plan and will increase the likelihood of getting approved for funding. So if you're trying to get financing for your vending machine business plan, or maybe even pitch an investor, this is going to be geared towards you. And so who is Projection Hub? We've helped more than 50,000 startups and founders and business owners create financial projections for their business plans, their loan applications, their pitch decks. Before my time with Projection Hub, I spent 7 years as a small business lender. And so reviewed hundreds, probably even thousands of business plans and working with startups to review their business plans, refine their business plans, prepare for loan applications. So I'm going to use that experience to kind of go through this business plan and give you some tips to be mindful of. So we are going to go ahead and jump in. And if at any point you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. That really helps us. Also consider joining the channel by subscribing. Not all of our content is related to vending machine businesses, but we do have a lot of content just in general around owning a business, running a business, and some financial aspects around that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so why is a business plan important? This probably sounds obvious, maybe even cliche, but it is important, I guess, to hit this point, is that the point of your business plan is not to educate a lender or an investor on what the industry is itself. Unless it's really novel and maybe something that they've never heard of or have any experience with, but more so what it needs to be doing is outlining your specific path to success. Outlining exactly what you plan to do to demonstrate that there's a high degree of likelihood that you're going to be successful. You want to kind of build that confidence in your lender or a potential investor. And so as I start to scroll through this, let's just go down to the table of contents initially. You'll probably notice it's not super long. And that's kind of one myth I want to dispel, is that your business plan doesn't need to be long to be good. Actually, I would say it's maybe even the opposite of that. When I was a lender, we would get these business plans that would be 50 pages long, 60 pages long, and there's just no way that your lender is going to read all that. And what it ends up doing is it kind of obscures all of the important details. And so by keeping your business plan short and concise, you can just include the highlights and the important details that your lender or potential investor needs to know. And so one thing to be sure of in that, though, is like, if it'd be a helpful exercise for you to have a really long business plan to kind of plan everything out and feel like you've covered all your bases, feel free to do that. But then whatever version of the business plan you deliver needs to be kind of a refined version of that, maybe 15 pages, 20 pages. And so you're going to see in this template, this free template structure that you can get, it's kind of organized in a heading, subheading. There's a brief description about what this section should include, and then like a fictitious example based upon this Fit Fuel vending machine, which is like nutritious snacks that are going to be targeted in gyms in Nashville is this use case. So we're going to kind of play along with that during this video. So in many of these cases, your business plan and some of these sections will want more content than what's included in this, but this template is meant to just try to help you have basically a structure and a starting point and all of that. So don't take this too literally, that you need to do exactly what this says here just for your business, but just kind of use it as a guide. Let's kind of just go through this. And again, I will stop and pause the 5 key points and drill down on those. So first of all, we got our executive summary, and actually this leads into a company description. And I want you to think about the executive summary as like the cover letter to a resume, for like a job application. It's just going to be kind of the quick overview of who you are, what you're doing, and some of the key points. Now, one thing that's not included in here that I would maybe consider is a quick highlight of some of the financial details, like your planned startup costs, the makeup of the sources of those startup costs, and maybe like when you project to break even or something like that. So those are some things maybe to consider adding in here. The company description is kind of just an extension of the executive summary. This is going to talk a little bit more about, as you can see here, the history, legal structure, some of those things. So that's not really the information you want to lead off with, but it is important to be kind of included up front. Okay, now moving along, we have our market analysis, and this is actually going to bring us to key point 1. And you'll notice in the template, all of the key points are highlighted like this, and then some tangible examples of maybe a way you could do that. And so what is the market analysis? Is we are trying to demonstrate that there's room in the market for your vending machine business. Now, vending machines is a little tricky because, someone isn't just going to go like online and search like vending machines near me. That's not really a thing people are looking for. They're more of like a convenience thing. So like if one happens to be close by to you in a place where you're like, oh, I'm hungry or I need to grab a snack or something like that, and it's there, that's when that's done. So the market research is a little less based off of like potential customer trends and trying to predict those, and more about finding the right partners and the right locations that you think your target customer, person that would enjoy what's in your vending machine, would be located at. So in our use case, like I mentioned, we're kind of focused on nutritious snacks and maybe like drinks or protein drinks or that kind of thing. And so would be really good for like gym goers and fitness nuts and people like that. And so our market analysis is going to be a little tricky, but maybe let's just, you can see here the breakdown is it's an overview of the industry. That's not like a national overview. Just do like a local industry overview. Like you said, there's fitness is really popular in Nashville. There's a ton of gyms. Okay, that's great. How many gyms in that radius? A good assessment would be of maybe the 40 gyms that are in the Nashville area. I'm just guessing. How many of them, is it common for them to already have a vending machine or something like that involved? Because if they already have vending machines, then you're gonna have to include how you plan to basically disrupt that market or steal some of those customers. Versus if you're like, yeah, there's 40 gyms and only 2 of them have a vending machine, then that's kind of a wide open opportunity. So that's kind of a demonstration of the market and the analysis of that market. And so the key point is any sort of tangible, specific examples you can give that you did to research that market opportunity is good. You never want to assume in your business plan, like if you just build it or you start it, then you'll have customers or that they'll just show up or that it'll just work out. You need to kind of outline, and then you've done some tangible research to demonstrate there is room in the market. And if there's maybe not room and it's saturated, you got to then we're going to have to demonstrate what are we going to do to steal some of that market share. So again, you can see some specific examples here again, like a survey of potential locations. That's kind of already mentioned. A super simple way to do that would be like just go to Google Maps, the area where you plan to be, and just start making a list of every gym there is. You can consider contacting those gyms or visiting those gyms to kind of take inventory of who has snack machines or beverage machines. You can even, like I mentioned, you could contact them. You can even ask, would they be open to it, and start making that list. So if you're like, yeah, we contacted all 40, 60% don't have vending machines, and they, said they would consider having one, that would be good. So that is an example of kind of the market analysis. You can't just say the market is 40 gyms. Take that a step or two further and say, well, we actually contacted them or we went in and visited them and they don't have, snack machines, and then include that information in your business plan to really kind of, tee up and set up how good the opportunity is for your business. Okay, so moving along to your marketing and sales strategy. Again, you can see you're going to outline the product and services and the pricing, sales strategy. We're going to distribute that, promotions, advertising. You're going to have a website, your social media channels. All that stuff is great, and you should include that. This should give you a good starting point on that. But key point number 2 is customer acquisition demonstration, or what a lot of people in the tech space call traction. Now, for vending machine space, this might be a little tricky to come up with examples, because the best examples of traction are pre-revenue. So before you launch the business, we've already demonstrated that there's room in the market, or what the market opportunity is. But now we need to demonstrate, how are we actually going to get some of those customers? How are we actually going to steal some of them? And so again, what we want to avoid is build it and they will come, or even we want to try to avoid, well, after we get started and this is what we'll do to grow our customer base. Those are good things, but traction is like momentum. Before, you want to give your lender confidence that when the business officially launches, or that when you officially put in your first set of vending machines, that it's got a high degree of likelihood to work, that there's already people agreed to have your vending machine, that sort of thing. And so here's a few examples, but one that I really like is example 3. And sometimes the best examples of traction require like the most hustle or the most grit, but lenders and potential stakeholders, they love to see that. And so this example would be for almost like you to be the vending machine in like a trial phase. So contact some of those gyms and say, you're interested in starting this. Would they be open to partnership? If they say yes, like great, I would love to come to your gym a few times over the course of the next couple of weeks and just set up a little table and maybe offer some of the snacks. And you could be there and you can talk to some of the gym goers. You can get their feedback on what type of snacks and drinks do you think they would like. You can sell things at a discount. You can give them away for free. But basically just do a pilot test for a few weeks or a few months at a few participating gyms, and just go there and be the vending machine during a period of hours if the gym would allow you to do that. And that's really good firsthand experience. You start getting good feedback. Like, yeah, we actually sold $1,500 worth of product in a couple of weeks at 3 different gyms. And we got feedback from 175 gym goers that they would love to have a snack machine there and they would consider buying things from it if it contained X, Y, and Z. So as you can see, that's a thing you can do before investing thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars into launching a full-scale business. But a lot of people don't want to do this step because it might be uncomfortable. It might require some hustle. But if you can include that type of example of traction in your business plan, your lender is going to love that kind of thing. They want to see that you're already trying, you're going on a limb to do things before taking kind of the big leap on that investment. And so that would be an example of traction. And if you can include things like that in your business plan, that's really going to make it shine. Okay, moving on. Operations and management. Again, you'll be able to see kind of what this contains, the actual logistics of the business. Where are you going to put your vending machines? How are you going to, handle managing and restocking those and maintaining them and servicing them? Are you going to have a person on the team that does that? Are you going to outsource that? Are you going to do it yourself? But the key point to include in this one is relevant industry experience. So this is a little tricky again for the vending machine because it's kind of a non-traditional business. And typically what this would include is you want to give your lender the confidence that you know what you're doing or you know what you're getting yourself into. Now, but it might be unlikely that you have a ton of experience with vending machines. Maybe you've done this before, you worked for a vending machine business before, that would be great. But maybe what you have more experience on is retail or sales, supply chain management or logistics or something that is related to vending machine business that you can highlight in your business plan. So like, let's use sales as an example. Now we see the owner here, his name is Joe McLean, and they've been a nutritionist A nutritionist has extensive knowledge of vending machine industry, nutrition, and customer preferences. So you can see they're really suitable for that. So this would be a good example. Maybe the owner has a lot of experience on the nutrition side at like what they're going to stock the vending machines with. Maybe they are really into fitness themselves, so they know what people are going to want in those vending machines. That still leaves some gaps in their experience. And so maybe they have another team member or a founder, a co-founder, someone that has a lot of experience in sales. And that person's going to be really well suited to form gym partnerships and get, do some more of the business development type stuff. And so it can be in any number of experiences that you want to lean on, but just make sure you include what you or your founding team or a key team member or employee, like what do you bring to the table that makes you well suited for what you're about to do, rather than, when I was a lender, we would all the time have people who had a long career doing one thing, but then they wanted a loan to start doing a different business that had absolutely zero to do with, any experience that they had, which isn't an automatic no, but it's just going to create some questions and some skepticism there. So again, if the goal here is to increase your likelihood to get approval for financing, the more you can do to demonstrate and put those fears at ease is going to lead to a higher degree of likelihood for approval. So we'll move on from that. And financial plan. All right, this is the big one. And obviously we're a little biased at Projection Hub. What we do is financial projections. But even when I was a lender, financial projections were by far the most important part of the business plan and what we would spend a lot of time reviewing and making decisions based upon that. And so key point number 4 isn't creating financial projections because they're expected. They need to be in here. So I'll get to key point number 4 in just a second. First, I'm just going to scroll through this quick. We got a breakdown of our startup costs and where those startup funds are coming from, a breakdown of our revenue projections, and some vending machine specific data here, like revenue per vending machine. You can see how our vending machine total is going to grow year over year. Some key ratios for our business, a breakdown of our operating expenses, and then we're going to have a 5-year pro forma statement for our income statement, and then a cash flow statement. You might also want to include like a projected balance sheet. We got a little break even analysis you can see here in year 2. Based on this data, we're saying we're going to break even. And so, shameless plug, all those charts were built using this template. Now, this is linked down in the description. You don't have to get it, but financial projections can be a little tricky if this isn't something you have experience in. Now, you can always pay an accountant or a CPA to create financial projections for you. It's probably going to cost a few $1,000s. It's not cheap to have it done. This template is less than $100, and if you stick around, I'll give you a discount code to get a pretty good big discount off this template. But it is built by a CPA on our team, and the whole purpose of this is to make it so you can create your financial projections on your own and have reliable outputs. So just a really quick overview of how this works. You put in your information in the blue boxes. We have a video guide that shows you how to fill out the whole thing. You'll highlight where your vending machines will be, how many you'll have, what they'll cost when you want them to come online, how much will each of those vending machines make, their average rent, their average costs, if you have any labor involved, annual increases in revenues and expenses. Very simple outline of what your operating expenses for the business that aren't related to the vending machines themselves. Do you have any employees? And that's going to generate all of these charts, financial statements for you in annual summaries, but also in monthly breakdowns, which your lenders are going to love. Now, your lender may not necessarily require 5 years of projections. Someone might only be 2 years or 3 years. So 5 years is just the conservative way to do it. But you can grab that template. Again, there's some links here in the business plan that'll go to it, but also in the description of the video down below. And again, at the end of the video, I will give you a promo code to get a discount on that. It's going to help you make your projections way easier to get that done. And our team is here to answer questions and help you through it if you have that at all. So Projections, though, themselves are not key point number 4. What is key point number 4? And it is realistic financial projections. Some people would say, well, how am I supposed to know what's realistic and what's within industry expectations? And the answer is pretty simple. Just Google it. So as a really quick demonstration, pull this set of projections back up. Now, these numbers are going to match up a little differently than what's in the business plan, just because that was a pre-filled example. This is kind of just the base version of the template. So this is how it would come if you would purchase it. But one thing it does that's really nice is creates this some key numbers. And any of these numbers, you can go out and research them, right? So here's an example. Typical revenue per vending machine. This is over $75 revenue per week. So over $300 per month. And I would say that's probably on the low end. So you could do Google searches. Also, depending upon your comfort level with using AI chat-based tools like ChatGPT or Bard, you could just ask it those same questions, and it's going to give you some really good information. And just use that to kind of weight your projections against. So let's take a look at our business plan template again. Let's go back up to our ratios. And we said, vending machines are going to be capital intensive up front, and then it takes a little time to build that revenue, but it should grow. It kind of compounds in its growth. And so we're saying by year 2, year 3, we're going to have that break-even moment, 18%, and then our profit starts to grow pretty steadily. And so let's see if that lines up with typical profit margin ranges from 10 to 30%. And that's kind of where we get 18 up to 30%, 34%, so maybe a little high. But again, it's okay for your 5-year out projections to be a little high, just because you don't have a crystal ball and you want to kind of be optimistic. So, but in your 1, 2, 3 years, it's going to be conservative to show that you can break even quickly without super rosy projections, I would say is the goal. So that's key point number 4, realistic projections that are within kind of industry expectations. Your lender is not going to have the perfect sheet with the right or wrong answers. They just are going to be looking for things that stick out to them. So if you're kind of weighing that against industry expectations, and you're still going to be profitable and all of that, then you'll be good to go as far as that goes. They're going to be looking at things like maybe like debt service coverage ratio of 1.2 or higher. So you can research what that means and make sure that kind of works out with your projections. But that is a quick bit of advice there. And this is going to round out the business plan, but we have one more key point, and this is really geared more towards if you're trying to get financing, and that is being prepared to demonstrate skin in the game. Now, quick example of this, if you're going to go buy a house and you need a mortgage, let's say you're trying to buy a $300,000 house, the bank might say, okay, we'll give you $250,000 and put $50,000 as a down payment. And now if you default on that loan, not only do you lose your down payment, you also lose the house because the bank, held a lien on that. Getting a business loan, your expectations should be similar. A bank is going to, want a personal investment from you, whether it's your money or money you got from someone else or a different loan or whatever. There's going to be an expectation you put in some money personally, and they're also going to want collateral. So vending machines, if you're getting loans for those, the vending machines themselves can be collateral. Also, there's probably similar like buying a car. Vending machine companies or the companies you would buy the vending machines from probably have financing programs that aren't as collateral intensive and all that kind of stuff. So you should consider doing that. But let's say you need to get a startup loan, from a bank or a general lender. They are going to want collateral. So if there's not enough collateral in the business equipment-wise to do that, you should be prepared to offer personal collateral. So if that's like a free and clear car, maybe a second, lien on your personal, residence. I'm not saying you have to give everything away. It's just when I was a lender, a lot of people would say that they received the advice to keep business and personal separate, which is great advice when it comes to bank accounts and bookkeeping and things like that. But when it comes to like lending and personal guarantees and all of that stuff, that's gonna be really difficult to do. So just be prepared, know what you have to offer in the event that comes up, rather than just taking a hard stance and saying, no, I'm not giving you anything personal, then you may not get the funding you need. So just kind of be aware of that. And you can be proactive and include what you have to offer as collateral in your business plan, which your lender will appreciate. And that does it. That's the business plan template. Again, go ahead and grab this for free down in the description of the video. I've already linked the template down there as well. If you have any questions, reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Like the video if you appreciated this, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.